Hi, I'm Donna from St David's, and today we're talking about solo adoption. Hi, thank you for joining me here today. In terms of your adoption journey and things, so what gave you the confidence to adopt as a single person with St David's?
I think I've always wanted to be a mum, and that's one thing that has never changed in my life. And I just got to a certain point in my life where I thought, I'm ready to do this. I was in the right place in my life. So, naturally you do your research, and from speaking to family and then friends who had adopted through St David's, it was hearing that positivity from them. And I suppose it was like reassuring then that you'd get that support from St David's, and you just seemed like the right people then to start my journey with.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Yeah. And how did the team support you through any worries or doubts that you had about doing it alone?
Do you know what? It's such a scary time. It is. And you worry about everything. And, you have those moments where you don't hear anything for a significant amount of time, just because that's the way it is. And I don't think anything prepares you for that. But the staff here were so supportive. Yourself, Donna, you were always at the end of the phone or an email, and you were doing your house visits. And if you weren't available, then, I'd be hassling Dan a lot.
Yeah.
So, when you were on your leave. So, Dan was amazing throughout this. So there was always somebody there. And even when it came to meeting my little girl social workers, there was always other people to talk to. So it's been really reassuring. And with yourself as well, many times you offered me contact details of other single adopters that I could link in with. So I always had that option as well to be able to reach out if I needed to. So it was amazing. Yeah.
And in terms of having those links with single adopters, what was that like for you?
Oh, so beneficial. It got me through this journey, really. I'm really lucky in the sense of, one of the adopters who went through St David's herself actually works with me. So being in the same office, we could have those conversations every day. And, now I've got my little girl, our journey has continued together, and our little girls meet up. So, she's been through that process, and I'm now seeing how things are developing as her little girl is getting older as well, and maybe particular challenges and things like that. And I can see the support that St David's offers her. Mm-hmm. So it puts me at ease. But if we ever needed to reach out in the future, you guys are there.
Yeah, and I think it's just being part of that wider community.
Yes,
isn't it? And just to know that we're there for you.
I think it's important for my daughter to know that she's not the only one who's adopted. That this is normal then. So she's got that community around her and other children growing up with friends that are going through exactly the same as her, so that she never feels like she's different.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And what unique strengths do you think single adopters bring to the table?
I suppose it's just the two of us. So we have got a strong bond, I suppose. There's nobody else in that mix. It's just the two of us. And we've created this beautiful relationship as mother and daughter. I am a very independent woman, which I can see is now brushing off on my little girl as well, because she is very independent and sassy.
She was always a feisty little one.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So, so I think she's picking up those attributes, really, yeah.
Okay. But seeing the two of you together, it just feels like you were always meant to be.
100%.
You are such a perfect match.
Yeah.
And it really is just so heartwarming to see your journey and the two of you.
It has been incredible. It's hard. Of course, it's hard. But it is all worth it. Because, when she wakes up in the morning and is hitting me on the face, shouting, Mummy, wake up. It is worth it. It is, because I get to see her smiley little face every morning. So, I've got a completely different life now, but it's the life I've always wanted. So, and she's just sassy and incredible.
Oh, that's just so magical. It really is. Okay. And how have you managed to balance parenthood, work, and your own well-being?
I'll be honest, that's been quite challenging. It has, because I've gone back to work full time. But this is where your support network is so important. You know, I'm really lucky with my parents that are able to step in and give me that time when I need it. But again, I've been really lucky with my employers as well, who have been really supportive throughout this and really flexible with my working hours. You know, I've gone into a role now where I am doing a lot more working from home, which is brilliant with you know, my daughter, because I can take her to school, pick her up, and it is a juggle, of course. You know, our mornings are absolutely chaotic, but yeah, this is life, isn't it? You know, it's not easy. But yeah, it's your support network that you need to reach out to and make sure that, you know, you do ask for help. And I am someone that doesn't always want to ask for help, because again,
you are pretty independent.
I am, yeah, definitely. But and I think sometimes, you know, my parents recognise that, so we'll just say, right, I'm picking, you know, her up from school today, so you can have an hour to yourself after work.
And I think that's really important for you, is just having someone in your life that knows you really well.
Yeah.
And just say, actually, you just need to take a step back now. We need to come and help.
Yeah, definitely. I'm lucky that they recognise that when I don't always speak up. But it is important to speak up, and I need to, I suppose, work on that a little bit more myself, really. Yeah.
And how have your parents coped with, because it was a massive transition for them in their life. It was their first grandchild. And how have they sort of taken to the role of being grandparents?
Amazing. They're exhausted, but no, they, like my dad especially is, you know, him and my daughter are best friends. Like Bappy is everything. He doesn't say no to anything.
Okay.
So she plays on every weakness. She knows what she can get out of Bappy. But yeah, they've all got a lovely relationship. You know, when I tell her Nana is picking her up from school, she's literally there jumping for joy. So it's lovely. But yeah, my parents have really embraced it. Their life is obviously different again. And yeah, they just love him being grandparents, because it's always something they've wanted as well. You know, and my sister's had a little girl. So so there's not much difference in age between her and my daughter. So, you know, yeah, my parents are very busy now.
Wow. Just this small little family has just all of a sudden exploded.
Hugely, yes.
And I know that from the photos that you send me that family holidays are very different.
Very different indeed, yes. Yeah, we all went away for my dad's birthday. It was, our first holiday abroad as a family. So it was lush. It was really lovely. And it was nice because there were so many of us. Yeah. That pressure was taken off you a little bit. You know, as a single adopter then, as a single parent. But, you know, we've created some lovely memories, and yeah, just save for the next one now.
But I just think just how beautiful for your little girl that, you know, that she's just been utterly embraced by this wider family, by you and everything that you're able to provide for her.
Definitely. She's, she has embraced it, and that's the thing. She's been incredible throughout this journey. You know, in the beginning, she was, you know, naturally and understandably very wary of new people, especially males. But now, I think now she's comfortable and she's safe. She feels safe in her environment. Then she's completely different. She's got no qualms at all in having chats with anyone. Yeah.
Help to really give her that confidence in life.
Definitely.
And so that comes with that security.
Yeah.
She knows that she's settled with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of community or friendships have made a difference for you in this journey?
I suppose is having those single adopters to be able to go to and, you know, have days out with them. So, you know, me and my daughter will go out with single adopters with their children, and, you know, those communities are really important to us. But yeah, it's embracing life really. And, you know, with her starting school now as well, she's got another little community of friends there. You know, I've made friends with their mothers. So, you know, that's important as well, to have those connections in school. Yeah.
Okay, I imagine there's lots of birthday parties and things now.
They are coming up. Yeah, it's going to be a busy time. And it's crazy, you know, my daughter's birthday isn't until the end of the year, and I'm already thinking, what theme is she going to have?
Wow.
Like, I know, constantly thinking ahead.
Okay.
But, yeah.
She is just the centre of your world.
She really is. She really is. You know, prior to her, obviously I'd go out and I'd be picking up clothes, shoes, whatever. Now I go out shopping and I pick up a load of stuff for her, stuff for me, and then my stuff goes back on the shelf and I just take hers to the till. That's the way it is now, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So she's always dressed lovely, and yeah, I mean, not so much anymore.
I still think you're looking pretty gorgeous.
Thanks, Donna, thanks.
And considering your journey, and how it's been, what would you say to other single people wondering if adoption is possible for them?
It is possible. You know, I think you just need to have that confidence. And obviously, you know, your circumstances need to be right for you as well. And making sure you have that support network around you. But, you know, it is scary, and you are going to, you know, be apprehensive throughout the process because, you know, it can be emotional. It can be a long process, but you just got to focus on what you want. If you really want to become a parent, then I would say go for it, because it is truly the best thing I've ever done. It's completely changed my life for the better. I don't think anything prepares you really for the change that it has. So yeah, it's lovely, and I'm going to stop now before I cry.
Oh, bless. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what we were saying just before we started recording was that the difference in your house.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So when I first came out to assess you, and you have the most beautiful home, but it was just everything was so pristine, and white walls and white furniture. And it was just lovely. But it was very clear that it was a single woman's house.
100%, yes. My glass panels on my stairs have now got my daughter's lips and tongue mark all over it. My glass doors have got fingerprints. We've now got 2 house rabbits. So we've got rabbit pens in the living room. It is absolute chaos. But it's good chaos. Yeah, it's been a huge transition, and it's funny when friends come into my home now because they just find it hilarious, because I was so, you know, everything had its place, everything was polished, everything was so immaculate, and now they're just like, oh my gosh, Jen, I've never seen so many toys in my life. Everything is just out of the toy box, and you've got 2 rabbits hopping round. So it is worlds apart from what it was ever before.
Completely. And I can still remember one of the first comments when I came out to see you, and you were saying, actually, I don't want my home to look like this. I want sticky finger marks on the wall. I want there to be children's chaos around.
No, I need my house to be clean now.
Be careful what you wish for.
No, definitely. It isn't, you know, yeah, of course, you know, I love my home, but no, this is what I want, you know, a lived-in home, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a happy home. And, you know, she plays and she's got her little bunny friends now, and it's what life is about, isn't it? So, yeah, completely different, but amazing.
Okay. So creating memories together.
Definitely, 100%.
Just thinking about your journey to adoption, and clearly your daughter's placed with you now, but in those really early sort of weeks and months when you first approached St David's, up to meeting me as your social worker, how was that for you?
I think, you know, when I spoke to friends that have adopted before, it was great hearing those experiences, and I suppose you have expectations then, I suppose, and I know everyone's journey is different, but you do have an idea in your head of how everything is going to go, and I suppose it didn't. It was very different. You know, I was so nervous, and don't get me wrong, there were times where I thought, am I doing the right thing? Can I do this? You know, Jen, you are on your own. This is a huge thing. And, you know, I was anxious in the beginning. And, you know, saying about my home, you know, just trying to make sure everything is perfect, you know, spraying that fresh air spray before you come in, lighting my candles, trying to make sure that everything is immaculate. But, you know, that's not what it's about, is it?
No. And I do remember coming round and quite clearly saying, you know, you've been cleaning.
Yeah.
You do not need to be doing this for my visits.
Exactly. And, you know, bringing someone into your home who is basically going to get to know absolutely everything about you, have a really good nose around your home, find out about your family, and it is intrusive, isn't it? It's a very intrusive process. So I think, you know, I was a bit apprehensive, like some of the questions that may have been asked would be a bit like, oh, I can't believe they're asking me that. But, you know, you got to get to know me, and you've got to know everything about me in order to make sure that, you know, we have the right match at the end of the day. You know, that right child is put with me, and I am the right person for that child as well. So I don't think I expected it to be as intrusive as it is. Even though I understand it, I don't think I expected that so much. But yeah, there was a lot of worry, I think, in the beginning, and self-doubt, I think, especially when you sort of revisit conversations about your childhood and actually the type of person you are, and you do question yourself a little bit. Well, I did. But actually, like looking back now, just reaffirmed that, yeah, I am the right person, and 100% I'm worthy of being a mum.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
You're a really good mum.
Oh, thank you.
Well. But I think also, you know, a lot of people can find that process that actually it helps them to know themselves that much better in terms of what their weaknesses, or what their, you know, things that they may struggle with later on in parenting. Yeah,
definitely, 100%. I took a long, hard look at myself in some areas, definitely, yeah.
And what made you, in terms of, if we go back a bit further, in terms of what made you pick up the phone on that particular day to make that inquiry?
So I've had, as you know, I've had cancer previously, and at that time I just lost my granddad to COVID, and I think I sat there, we were in lockdown, and I remember sitting in the house. I can picture myself on the sofa now, having these sort of conversations with myself and thinking about it. And I just thought, what is the one thing in my life that has never changed? What have I always wanted? And I don't think that's ever going to change. I just was assessing my life, I think, and where I wanted my future to go. And the one thing that's never changed is I've always wanted to become a mum. And I've never met the right guy to be able to think, I really want to start a family with you. And I just thought, well, just because I haven't met the right partner, then why should I, you know, why should I not then move forward in becoming a mum? You know, it's 2025 now, do you know what I mean? Yeah, Jen, you can do it. So it was a bit of sadness, I suppose, and a moment of sort of looking at where I want to go in life that made me think, yeah, you know, obviously, you know, I really thought hard about this and spoke to my family and friends about it as well. But it was those things, I suppose, that pushed me to really look into this and send that email into St David's. And then I remember having the call then from Dan and thinking, oh, this is, it's happening.
Got the ball rolling.
Yeah. So that was the moment for me, really. Yeah.
Okay. And so you sent an email in, and then Dan phoned for a chat.
Yes.
And how was that first conversation with Dan?
Oh, fine. Look, you know Dan, he's instantly calming, I think, and very reassuring. You know, the perfect person to speak to be honest. He is that perfect person to be at the end of the phone. You know, really informative. I remember him sending some documents over, and I think was it information about the parenting course, or I don't know what you call it now. So obviously, that the ball really was rolling then. And you still think in the beginning, I'm actually doing this, am I doing it? But yeah, so that was sort of the beginning.
Brilliant. And you mentioned the 3-day introduction to adopt training.
Yeah.
And how did you find that?
So obviously because of COVID times, it was all online, which it was fine. Do you know what? That probably suited me purely because I was the only single adopter on that course.
Okay.
So everyone else was in couples. And I did find that quite difficult. I really did, because everyone had some sort of support there. And I think it really highlighted to me, you are on your own. I'm not on my own. I've got my support network and I know that now. But I think that was quite hard in the beginning. So it was an interesting course, and, it really made you think about the process and the type of children that you're going to be coming across, and, picking that right match for you. But yeah, I think it was a tough couple of days for me. It was.
Yeah. And I think what would you be your one take home, like most important piece of information from that course?
Oh gosh. It was so long ago now. I'm trying to think.
It was, because
we're talking like 5 years now, probably.
Because I think we were just working out that your little girl has been placed with you now for just two
years this week. Yeah,
which is incredible,
unbelievable. Yeah, it's flown by. Yeah, it was 2 years yesterday that introduction started. Yeah, so a little memory popped up on my phone yesterday of our first picture together. Yeah, so it's absolutely flown by. Really has.
And how was that first meeting?
Frightening. Again, you are on your own, and going into the foster carer's house, introducing yourself to them. Like, obviously we did meet prior, but you're going into their space, aren't you? And my daughter only ever knew them, and I was this stranger coming into her safe space. So I was very mindful of that, because all you want to do is just go. Well, I did. I just wanted to go in, pick her up and give her a big touch and a kiss. But you can't, because I am a complete stranger to her. So that was really hard. But, it's just being patient, isn't it? And just building that bond with them slowly. And, I remember sitting on the floor with her and just getting toys and just playing with the toys. And then gradually she came towards me. And it was funny with my little girl, because her thing to connect with people seemed to be playing ball. And that was the same with every family member she met, every friend. Moving forward, there was something about playing ball with someone that she built a bit of a bond. And do you know what? She's still the same now. She loves basketball, football, loves it. So in the beginning, it was just playing toys and just being patient. But, you do sit there feeling like eyes are on you. My daughter's social worker was there, obviously the foster carer, and you feel like everyone's watching you. Well, they're not. Obviously you need to oversee everything, make sure everything's okay. But yeah, I think you just got to let that go and just enjoy the moment.
And I think introductions can be really tough, especially as a single adopter, because you don't have someone else there with you that you can just sort of chat with and sort of bounce ideas off. So how did you get through that time?
Do you know what? I think it was probably the phone calls on the way to the foster carer's house and on the way home. As soon as I got into that car, I'd be on the phone to my mum, and just talking through everything that's happened. So that was handy for me. I am quite a confident person anyway. And what do they say? Fake it till you make it. So, I don't think the foster carers ever knew that I was that nervous, I suppose. But yeah, I just think you just got to have that belief in yourself. And it's just like, well, no, this is an important time. This is your time to build those positive steps with your child, and just embrace it. But like I said, it was those phone calls, I think, while I was doing my journeys to and from that got me through, I suppose. Yeah.
Yet again, the importance of a support network.
Yeah, definitely.
Can really be there for you.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So thinking about your adoption journey, what do you think the hardest part of it has been?
It was the waiting. Okay. You have access to Linkmaker, and it is Linkmaker, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Having access to Linkmaker, and just going, through these children's profiles. And that's hard in itself. You're reading about each child, but then taking a look at your own life and your own circumstances and your capabilities and thinking, actually, no, that link wouldn't be right for me. And you do feel a sense of guilt. They're children. But, for those links to work moving forward, they has to be right for both, isn't it? Parent and child. So that was difficult. But the waiting, it was a considerable amount of time, I think, which I don't think I really prepared myself for. We were in COVID times, so, the children weren't coming through, they weren't there.
So I think I remember it was a really hard period, wasn't it? Because sort of because the children weren't being seen by nurseries, by health visitors, by schools, and so the referrals weren't going through to social services, and so the children weren't being removed. But it also then had the knock-on effect that children were not being put up for adoption. So it was hard, and it was about not agreeing to just any match. It's about ensuring that any match that does happen is right for you, and it's it has to be right for the child, because what we really want is for this to work.
Of course, no, definitely. It's like you said, it's just being patient with it, I suppose. But I think in that time, it was really difficult. And if they were children that, it was like, right, can we find out a little bit more about them? And then you were getting a lot of no's. That was hard, because again, it questions you of whether, well, should I become a mum? Why don't they consider me? But yeah, so that was hard, having some knockbacks, because you do question yourself. But the waiting was tough. But I think, what was key, it was just trying to keep busy in those times. I think one of the good things for me is I was working in a department with my employers, which was super busy at the time. I was working silly hours, so that kept me busy and my mind off for a little bit. And then I took up cold water swimming. I
remember those conversations.
My gosh, yeah, I remember going down to the sea for sunrise in the mornings. That was like my new hobby, my new thing. I don't do it anymore, obviously, but it was just trying to find anything to try and occupy myself and take my mind off it. But I will say the cold water swimming did actually really help. It really did. It was surprising. It put you in such a good mood and set you up for the day. It was great. I do miss that. But yeah, it was that waiting. That was tough, really tough.
Yeah. And I think so many adopters think that actually it's the assessment that is the really tough part, because then I'm coming out to your home every 2 weeks, we're having a couple of hours together, and really going into the ins and outs of every aspect of your life. But actually, I suppose there's that sign of momentum there, that something's happening.
Yeah.
And then, once you've got to panel, you've been approved, and it's like, right, let's get on with it. But it's about making sure that the right child is there and that you can provide.
Yeah, 100%, because you feel like nothing's happening, and you're constantly checking your emails. Have I missed a call? No, there is just nothing going on at the moment. I think that was, you're completely right in what you say. Having those visits, doing your homework, the course, everything was just so continuous. And then you just get to that point and you think, right, got to find my match. No, not yet. Yeah. So, the brakes are really slammed on, aren't they? And that was tough.
I remember as a social worker finding it really tough, because I just asked you, I knew that you were just going to be the most incredible mum, and yet the right children weren't there for you.
Yeah.
But I hope the wait was worth it.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I say, it was never meant to be before. And I do, think, my little girl was always meant for me, and this was always meant to happen. I really do. The waiting was definitely worth it. Yeah. My little ball of sass.
And I think the bond that you two have together now is just incredible.
Yeah. She's you know, she's 3, but it's like living with a 13-year-old at the moment. Like, honestly, she's hilarious. She's so confident and puts me in my place every single day. Yeah, she's, the bond is there. And she's so funny. Like, I do laugh with her, like I would laugh with you, like with an adult. Her humour is just, she's been here before, honestly. Yeah.
And how do you explain to her journey?
So she's still quite young at the moment. So I have got storybooks, like one is called I Wish For You. So we do read that. We read that every week. And I have shown her photos of Tummy Mummy, and have said, you know, this is Tummy Mummy, but she's not quite understanding anything yet. But I just want her to sort of get used to the language being used, like Tummy Mummy, and who these people are in the photos. So it's not something I do all the time at the moment, because she's not quite grasping that yet. But yeah, you know, there are the odd conversations at the moment, like I said, the book, but she's not really understanding. Yeah.
Wow, that's really brilliant words. And it has just been lovely to see your transformation as a person and a mum, actually.
Yes.
Just watching the pair of you together.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but amazing. But thank you as well, Donna, because, you know, and, you know, to Dan and everyone at St David's, really, because, you know, it's you guys that have made this happen. So you've changed my life. And yeah, if you're ever having those bad days in work, you go home and you think, oh, what a tough day. Think of me and my daughter, and think about the change that you've made in our lives, because that's why you do the job you do.